Is Dandy's world actually dying, or is the community just becoming too toxic for its own good? Lately, the negativity is everywhere. Reddit, Discord, and even our own comment sections. People are calling the game a repetitive grind. And if you're only playing Dandy's World to get that Floor 100 badge, stop. I'll tell you why later, but first, back to the community. And let's be real, some of the complaints are 100% justified. Within the last few months, the gap between casual and pro has become a canyon. The RNG for Icar and the sheer amount of grinding required for masteries can feel like a second job. When you spend 30 minutes on a run only to get cornered by a Twisted because of a bad map spawn, it hurts. This repetitiveness is what critics point to when they say the game feels like a chore. On my new account, I felt that immediately. Without speed trinkets, Boxton is a sitting duck, and that's a barrier that stops many new players from ever reaching the mid-game. But here is where the community goes too far. Attacking the developers, specifically Quell, over things like the 50 Robux Sprout skin is frankly too harsh. Quell and her team are providing a free-to-play experience that just dropped an incredible lore expansion. Look at the transcript we uncovered. Dated March 12, 1988, Sprout and Astro are having an existential crisis. Sprout literally begs Delilah to make Cosmo because he feels incomplete, and even mentions going over her head to Arthur. This confirms the creators aren't just names, they are the architects of the Toon's suffering. Sprout was programmed with a best friend who didn't even exist yet. That is high-level storytelling, and it deserves respect, not harassment. The real Twisted in Dandy's world isn't a monster, it's the Toon elitism in matchmaking. During this run, I saw veterans harassing noobs just for their Toon choice. But as you see on screen, I'm hitting every skill check and looping monsters with 0 buffs. The game isn't broken, it's just demanding. We need to stop gatekeeping and start helping new players because they are the ones who keep the servers alive. So it seems that some players are falling into what the community is calling the invisible floor 100 trap. I've seen players admit to wasting days of their lives chasing a badge that feels practically unobtainable, and it's fueling a wave of negativity that might actually kill the game. Today, we're looking at both sides of the war, and I'm showing you why I started over as a new Boxton to see if the fun is actually gone, or if we're just obsessed with the wrong things. Let's look at the negative side first. Players are devastated that recent updates like the Sprout TOTW felt like less than polishing. The big complaint? Procrastination. Critics argue there's no reason in God's name why Quell and the team can't push a 1% buff to Boxton's passive or fix the cards running out on high floors. On my new account, I felt this immediately. Playing as Boxton without a buff feels like the game is punishing you for not being meta. If cards are crucial for high floor progression and they simply run out, that's not a challenge. That's a design flaw that makes people feel like they've wasted their time. But then you have the defenders, and they make a really strong point. Has the game actually gotten worse, or has the novelty just gone away for you? Aside from the Twisted cap increasing to 8, what has actually made the game strictly worse in the last year? Skins don't make the gameplay worse, and the people modeling skins aren't the ones coding the AI. The positive side argues that if you've put 200 hours into a game, it's okay for it to feel less fun now. You've finished it. They're telling the floor 100 grinders to move on to something else for their own mental health rather than surrounding themselves with toxicity. This frustration actually mirrors the lore we just found. In the 1988 transcript, Sprout is desperate because Delilah hasn't made Cosmo yet. He feels incomplete. Just like Sprout is waiting on his creators to give him what he needs to feel whole, the players are waiting on Quell and Arthur to give them the gameplay buffs they need to feel like their time is respected. Sprout said he'd beg Arthur if Delilah didn't listen. Is the community doing the same thing? Begging for a band-aid fix just to survive the floor 100 trap? My take? Quell needs to fix the card scaling and Boxton's viability to stop the burnout. But as a community, we need to stop treating a floor 100 badge like it's a requirement for having fun. Friend me at Dandy's Guide. Let's do some low floor runs where we actually enjoy the game again. Is the floor 100 trap real, or are people just being too harsh? Let's settle this in the comments.